several reasons. One, budgetary, and secondly, next year, I guess the way the calendar falls and where Labor Day is, it's about the latest that it can fall. And so if you look at version 1, which is the traditional, I've laid out a traditional calendar. Again, I'm assuming that there are 182 student days. Now, if we pull that back, it would back off 2 days on this. But with 182 student days and 5 snow days, total of 187 days, and starting on September 8th, the day after Labor Day, or students coming on the 9th actually, the last day is June 30th.
If we have 5 snow days.
If you had 5 snow days, you have to plug that in, you have to schedule it in. So
That's not happening with you.
Well, can I ask why on versions 4 and 5, you reduce from 182 to 180, but on this one, the traditional one, you don't reduce it to 180, because there's 2 days there.
Right, you're
The
right.
third day is Good Friday,
Right.
and then that's assuming 5 snow days, so you could actually get out as early as the
21st?
Well, the 25th Friday would certainly be, if you took the 2 reduced days
Right.
and Good Friday, you're out on the 25th,
No,
no
you're
matter
right.
what.
I think that's all part of the variables, and I just,
And keep
after
in
5
mind that-
different versions,
Yeah.
each one of them has, you could take each one of them and go 187, 185.
And keep in mind, Labor Day, the date changes every year.
Right, we've
It
had
can't
this
be the
before.
first.
We've dealt with this before.
Okay, yeah.
My question.
Which means you'd be going back to school on August 24th and 25th on those years.
David, I have a question for you just in general. I know you want to get into all these, but I favor going to 180 days. Mainly for cost reasons, but also, or budget reasons, but also because that's the state requirement. I guess my question to you is, in order for that to have a significant financial impact, it has to also have an impact on the teachers, correct? And so that's something that can't be done unless it's in collective bargaining, correct?
It would be a subject for bargaining.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
And we could certainly pay them, I mean, we could certainly go 180 and pay them for 182, but that's what the contract is now, it's
Right.
for 182.
It's 183.
183.
183, so I mean.
So we'd be going to
it would have to be-
181 for teachers,
It would have to be bargained.
I just want, I support moving to 180 regardless of what calendar we pick, so.
Just, can I ask a question for clarification? The 183, is that instructional days, or does it include
182
professional
instructional.
development?
182 instructional days,
Teachers'
and
first
the
day
day
back.
before
First
students
day.
arrive, the orientation.
So when we say 182, that does not include the professional development days, those are in addition?
Now, the 182 would be,
That's how many days the kids come in, regardless of whether it's
They're
a
in
half day
school,
or full
right.
day, or, right.
182 days in, and then the day before students arrive is staff orientation.
But if we went down to 180 for students, like Mel said, like we
180.
just did, and there's
Right.
2 extra days there for teachers.
No, one.
No, I'd want to go to 180, 181, but that'd have to be
That's what would be
negotiated in collective bargaining.
Right,
Right.
but to avoid collective bargaining, can we target those 2 days as professional development days and do away with half days?
You could.
You could.
Well, you could. It would also, there are other half-days other than professional
Yeah,
development,
right.
conference days and exam days and so forth.
But if we weren't able to bargain it out, it's not a loss. We can configure the days.
Correct.
Oh, but you'd have to pay them.
Right.
Correct.
So do you want to go through each
I
calendar,
got
or how do you, because,
Yeah, I mean, the idea is just to put something out for people to take a look at. So number 1 is traditional. Version 2 and then 2, 3, 4, and 5 all set the clock back basically by a week. And so it has staff coming back on the Tuesday before Labor Day. I'm sorry, on the Monday before Labor Day. And then students arriving on Tuesday, when they would be in school on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So Tuesday would be typically high school grade 9 orientation, middle school grade 6 orientation, grades 1 to 5, which would be here on that Tuesday before Labor Day. On Wednesday, all the high school students, all the middle school students would also arrive. And the kindergarten orientation days where families and children come in and meet with their kindergarten teacher would occur on that Tuesday and Wednesday. And then Friday, there would be no school, so there would be an extra long Labor Day weekend.
So the high school, and we
By
come in for 2
design.
days, the
Right.
second, the Wednesday and Thursday, be off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. In other years, that would mean, again, in August start of maybe as early as 24th or 25th, go in
Correct.
for 2 days, go home for 4 days. I just, I just don't
Well,
see
the
it.
thinking is that normally, if you think of the tradition, if you look at the tradition, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday would be the start of school. High school students would come on, all of them, not the freshmen, but 10, 11, and 12, would be here on Thursday and Friday,
Yeah.
at the end of the week. So this is really doing the same thing, it's just doing it all before Labor Day, so that when you come back on Tuesday,
See,
you're right into.
I see it as they come back for 2 or 3 days and they have another vacation, and
Yeah.
then they come back again.
Or whatever they
It
make.
doesn't make,
It never
doesn't make
made sense
to
to me, just practically speaking, it
Yeah.
never made sense. My wife, Burlington's been doing it for 10 years, and I just never understood the practicality of it. I mean, I'm not sure, what do we get out of it? What's the benefit of it?
Will we
What's
see
the,
other
what's the benefit
versions?
of
An
changing it?
earlier,
But,
Well, it's gonna
Right,
lead
it's an
into some
earlier
of
end
the
of
other
season.
decisions that I'd like to put out there, so if you just
yeah,
go through.
Will you have other versions at another time that don't impact Labor Day? These aren't our only options.
Well,
that we're
if I go
considering.
through the other ones, I'll show you why, starting before Labor Day, if we're gonna look at some of these other options. Version 2, all it does is it resets the schedule by a week,
right.
all right?
No other changes, all
No
the other
other
vacations,
changes.
everything else is the same.
No other changes.
Is that also
Now,
180,
Right now, it's 187, you could drop it to 185.
so the 24th on here as the end date, with
It
including
has
5 snow days is
182
180.
student days
Okay,
versus 180. So
Okay.
you could, as Jerry was right, you could take that and cut off 2 days.
Right.
All right, so version 3 begins to take a look at closing the schools for that, a longer period in December. So basically, if you keep on flipping back and forth, next year, version 3 would close the schools for basically 2 weeks in December. And you would gain 3 additional non-heating days. So that's really all that.
But you only gain 1 day at the end of the year, instead of the 30th, you're looking at the 29th
Exactly.
as last year.
Right.
That's it.
Okay. And again, if you choose, you could pull back from 182 student days to 180, and that would give you 2 more days. Right.
well,
Version 4 is a little more radical. Version 4 pretty much does everything that version 3 does, except that once we get into the cold winter months, January and February, in addition to being off for 2 weeks in December, we would go to a 4-week schedule. So every Monday, we would have, through January and February, would be a 4-day student week and staff week, and schools would be closed for an additional day and the weekend. So on Friday, we would shut down, and it would be closed through Tuesday morning.
And that's for January, February.
Yes, and the other change here, because of the, we're actually looking at
vacation.
1, 2, not including Martin Luther King Day, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 additional days. It does eliminate April vacation and has a long weekend around Patriots' Day, which is part of the April vacation.
just,
Well, it's thinking, April's not usually a heating month.
No, but it's you're making up, you have to
no,
make
we're
up the
back to
days.
school. There's to be no April vacation, the kids will be in school.
They're gonna go to school sometime.
I know, but wouldn't you rather shut down in a heating month?
No, that's what we are, but no,
Yeah.
instead of shutting
That's
down
what
in
we're
April,
doing.
we're staying open. We're
We're
shutting
shutting
in
down in the winter
February.
and opening in the,
But,
in
but
April.
I gotta say, David, looking at this, February, you might as well not even have the kids in school, because they're off almost as many days as they're in school, and I just can't see.
12 school days in
As
February.
far as, if I'm a teacher and I look at that, I'm saying that that's a wasted month.
Well,
I just,
Well, I'd even,
Well, what I'm
Take
doing
off
is,
April's
I'm
vacation.
trying to show some of the thinking here.
right, no, I know, but I just.
I'm getting nervous.
Version 5.
I need to hit 6.
yeah.
That's coming up version 6 for you.
Okay.
Me too.
Well, there are other versions.
I got your version
Um, Version 5, again, closes for that 2-week period in December. And then what it does, whenever there's a long weekend, say like Martin Luther King Day is on the 18th of January. So we would be closed on that Friday before that, and also sort of be a mini, in January, there would be a very extended vacation. And then there would be a longer February vacation. And then, no April vacation, but a rather extended Patriots' Day weekend. And this also drops it to 185 or 180 student days.
Can I make a motion to adopt the traditional calendar, never, ever bring up this version again?
Yeah.
A motion.
No, I understand what we're trying to do with the versions.
Well, it seems to be about fuel costs, and we've already come up with one dilemma with that, and that's the traditional use of the
Right, if
school
you could.
during those
Right, the
those
building's gonna have to be
periods.
open for the sports, so
Yeah.
I don't see how you can.
The second thing is they're practically giving oil away now.
That's true.
Huh? Yeah.
Or gas, we're natural gas, but.
Who's gonna pay for the school buildings in Groton?
But I mean, I think it's totally impractical to think that we could close down the buildings completely during those periods of time, because they're actively used not only by the school department, but by the traditional youth activity
We have
groups as
games,
well.
we have games during vacations, right? I mean,
Oh,
there are
absolutely.
games here during
Absolutely.
December vacation or February vacation,
yeah,
right?
there's no question
The
about
only
it.
month that's between seasons and still cold enough to consider heat savings is March, right? Isn't that the time frame where winter
Well,
sports
yeah,
has ended
yeah,
and
the
spring hasn't
Yeah,
actually
Tournament,
Winter
started
sports,
state
yet?
tournament starts, I think.
With the
So-
sports end of the first few
I
days.
think,
Right.
you know, when you're discussing it with the administrative council and you're looking at shutting down, I might look at that time frame on the calendar sometime in March.
Timkins.
March, really?
I
I
just-
thought MCAS was the end of the year, and that's why we had problems
No.
with field trips.
Start- it
Starts
starts
in
in
March with a long composition, and we actually looked at, part of this planning was built around what you could and could not do relative to the.
You know, and I think continuity is a big thing here too, because
Yes.
I don't know, how do they do in Westford, David? Do they go back before Labor Day?
They do, they don't for about.
And you don't, that hasn't turned you off to this calendar at all? I mean, to me, it really seems to disrupt the traditional end of the summer, seriously,
too.
for kids
But it's
and for
changed.
teachers and for everybody. And the lack of continuity, you come back for those 2
2
days,
days.
a vast majority of the kids come back for 2 days. And then they're off, they give them off Friday.
How can they be
Saturday,
serious and
Sunday, and
constantly-
Monday.
yeah,
And then basically, it seems like you're almost using 2 days to get the orientation done, and then you're starting school the day after Labor Day.
Right, that's-
And although this year, Labor Day is on the 7th, the
Next year it'll
days,
be the second.
last year was the 1st. And so you're
Right.
talking about coming back to school August 24th. And I just, to me, I don't know, I don't see the benefit from this. If it's just for heating cost of our energy savings, for those 5 or 6 days when we'll probably have to open the buildings anyway, I don't know, I don't get, I've never understood the point of it.
I think the disruption is, David has talked about this numerous times, and I think it's a good idea to throw some things out on the table. But I think in the last 2 versions, the disruption in the months of February, I think makes February a wasted month, and December, to a certain extent, although it's a little more than we have now, so that's why I think that December is okay. But February becomes almost a wasted month.
The quite frankly, I don't know who else is doing this, but even those schools to go back